Welcome to INN's Advocate. INN's Advocate is a platform for lawyers having less than 5 years of practice. Today we have with us Advocate Sumukh Rakhwe. He graduated his law from ABA College in the year 2020, graduated his LLM in ILS Law College in the year 2022. His areas of practice are civil law. Today, Advocate Sumukh is going to speak on right to food. So without wasting further time, I would request Advocate Sumukh to commence with his lecture. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So before starting, I would like to thank Hammurabi Tablet team and also my friend Nanesh Batukande to introducing me to Hammurabi Tablet team. So today I am going to speak on topic right to food. Our earth is blessed with food enough for every being on this planet. Food is a basic need for everyone and it is an obligation that has to be fulfilled. A quality of food grain is that the outcome is always in multiples. The concern today is that many people still die of hunger all around the world. It then became the responsibility of law to ensure food as a basic right. With advent of the welfare state, the focus of law changed from concentration of power to welfare of citizens. The law and society developed in a manner where resources will be equitably distributed among its citizens and people were allowed to choose how they want to utilize these resources and no one could dictate their will over the people. This change gave rise to rights of people and fulfilling their basic needs. India has always been an agrarian society with rich history of agriculture. India has its fair share in experiencing problems relating to food such as famines, scarcity, destruction of food resources, etc. Yet, Indian culture has given importance to food and fulfillment of the need of hunger. Development of science has also played a great role in contributing towards the agricultural sector. One of the greatest challenges was during the pandemic when people, due to lockdown, could not manage to earn their daily meal. At that time, the law was set in motion to help the needy so they get their meal. Without a good law in this regard, a system cannot be mobilized to work for people in need. I intend to present a study of laws which came into motion when the challenge of hunger arose and how it was successful in helping people. Food is necessary for every person to live. A person cannot live without food. It has been stated in the religious texts as well as in modern ideas that food is essential for every human. In order to ensure food to everyone, law was made to ensure good food for all. Wretched is the man of poverty who begs. More wretched is he who merely closes the door on the hungry and eats along. This portrays the importance of food in a society. The idea conveyed to all is that food should be made available to all and everyone must consume it to their fullest capacity. It is not an ideal, it is a duty. Article 21 of the Constitution of India provides right to life for all the citizens of India, including the right to food. Further, Article 47 of the Constitution, inter alia, provides that the state shall regard raising the level of nutrition and standard of living of its people and improvement of public health as among its primary duties. Food security means availability of sufficient food grains to meet the domestic demand as well as access at the individual level to adequate quantities of food at affordable prices. In order to address the issue of food security at the household level, the government is implementing a targeted public distribution system under which subsidized food grains are provided to the below poverty line, including Antyodaya Anna Yojana and above poverty line households. The idea behind learning this topic today is to understand about the importance of food as a right to life and why it is important for every person to know about this right. Let us first try to find an answer to a simple question. Is it mandatory for a person to work to earn his share of food? Putting simply, can food be considered as an end goal that one achieves after completing a certain amount of work? Considering through the legal perspective, we must understand that if law recognizes right to food, then the above question is answered in negative. It means that a basic human need is not a thing that one must earn, but it is a responsibility that food must be provided to every individual. Then, why does a need arise to make everyone aware about this right? In my opinion, one must know this right to ensure that everyone must be able to secure a meal for themselves every day, and law works to provide this to every individual. It must be understood that the cause of undernourishment, death from hunger, and malnutrition of children are primarily due to social injustice, political and economic exclusion, and discrimination. Millions of undernourished children suffer from political and social exclusion while their right to food is violated. Children's rights are the human rights of children with particular attention to the rights of the special protection and care afforded to the young, including their food. Law acknowledges its duty towards this right and takes efforts to follow it until food reaches everyone. Supreme Court, time and again, through its various judgments, have reiterated that food is a part of right to life and must reach every individual. Right to food is a right to life which can be available to every individual, not just in India but across the globe. In reality, the world produces enough to ensure every person can enjoy their share of food. It is said that Earth has enough for everyone's need but not enough for everyone's greed. The role of law and legal enforcement system is to act as a means to ensure that everyone is able to enjoy this right to food. Food is the basic need of a person, and when this need is satisfied, only then one can contribute to progress of society. Before understanding the right to food in today's context, let us understand its historical position. India has been a witness to various famines, droughts, etc., such as famine of Bengal 1943. This famine was a result of utter mismanagement of the earlier British government at times of war. But the right to food was prevalent in India since ages. In fact, food was provided free of cost to students, and it was considered as a responsibility for every household to contribute to food for these students. Food was given to everyone through various institutions like temples, and at times at the cost of the state. Even kings and rulers were bound by this rule and generously contributed to food distribution and donated food to the needy. It was a responsibility of the ruler of every kingdom to ensure a method of creating a food distribution system and promoting and contributing to agriculture. India, being an agrarian society, has inculcated in itself a deep respect for food to the extent that Indian societies not only cared for food to humans but even for animals. The idea that I want to highlight here is right to food was instilled in our society much before it was written and codified on a paper. A society will easily accept a law which is made according to prevalent norms of the society. For Indian society, offering food is a sacred duty. It never needed any written law to enforce the concept of right to food. So if I put it in layman terms, right to food as it is today is a codified form of a prevalent practice since ages. Let us understand the position of right to life today. Indian Constitution guarantees an important fundamental right to every individual in our country, that is, right to life, which includes various rights, and judiciary through its judgments and orders has been expanded its scope as per the need of society. Right to food similarly is not a written right but an example where judiciary has interpreted it as a part of right to life. Right to life means the right to live with dignity. The fundamental right to life, which is the most precious human right and which forms basis of all other rights, is interpreted in a broad expansive spirit which will help in enhancing the dignity of individual and worth of human person. The scope of right to life is explained in judgment of Francis Collare Mullen versus Administrator, Union Territory of Delhi and others, judgment of 1981. The right has been interpreted as the right to dignity, means the right to full personhood. It means having access to necessities of human life as well as having autonomy over personal decisions. Let us understand challenges for securing right to food to everyone. Despite these legal advancements, several challenges persist in ensuring universal access to food. First, availability versus accessibility. While food production has increased, distribution gaps, logistical inefficiencies, and supply chain disruptions continue to hinder accessibility. Second, economic disparities. Food security is not just about production but also affordability. Inflation, income inequality, and job insecurity limits access to nutritious food. Third, malnutrition and quality of food. Beyond mere availability, food security must ensure proper nutrition. Malnutrition, particularly among women and children, remain a significant concern. Fourth, food wastage and storage. Poor storage facilities and food wastage undermines the effort to eradicate hunger. Strengthening infrastructure is crucial for maximizing resource utilization. Climate change and agricultural sustainability. Environmental changes threaten agricultural productivity, necessitating policy shift towards sustainable farming practices. Right to food is inherent to right to life, as is the view of law for understanding and effective realization of this right. Article 21 must be read with Article 39 and Article 47. Article 39 is a directive principle of state policy which directs state to make policy towards securing that all its citizens have equal right to an adequate means of livelihood. And Article 47 states it is the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living as its primary responsibility. In India, it is a view that there is a fundamental right to be free from hunger, and starvation constitutes a gross denial and violation of this right. Apart from constitutional obligation, India is also signatory to International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights (ICESCR), in which the right to be free from hunger is enshrined in Article 11, paragraph 2. It is the duty of every state to ensure that everyone under its jurisdiction must have access to minimum essential food, which is sufficient, nutritionally adequate and safe. Hence, it is an obligation to respect, protect and fulfill the right to food for every citizen in India. One has to understand how the right to food developed into a constitutional right. The Indian Constitution does not expressly mention the right to food. The concept of right to food as a right to life evolved through judicial interpretation of it. Considering the fact that if food is offered to a person as a part of his right, it can provide solution to various problems in society like suicides due to lack of food, engaging in theft to meet hunger needs, and it can also provide answer to begging. The idea of right to food gradually developed through judicial interpretations. In Shantistar Builders vs. Narayan Khimalal Totame 1990, Supreme Court held that food, clothing and shelter are basic needs of a man. It means that right to roof and proper food is necessity of a man. In Peerless General Finance and Investment Company Limited, the Reserve Bank of India versus the Reserve Bank of India 1992, the court quoted Article 25 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights and held that the right to live with basic human dignity with necessities of life such as nutrition, clothing, food, shelter over the head facilitates for cultural and socio-economic well-being of every individual. People's Union of Civil Liberties versus Union of India and others 2004. A public interest litigation was filed which focused on upholding right to food as a part of Article 21. In this case, right to food was regarded as a legal right. The case was brought in response to starvation and death in rural areas of Orissa and Rajasthan, which were drought-stricken. Through its various interim orders from time to time, recognized right to food as a part of right to life, dealt with the breakdown of PDS system and inadequacy of relief program in drought-related areas. Court actively intervened and directed the government to provide immediate relief to these drought affected areas and secure them a food as their right. The judicial interpretation and orders are not sufficient for ensuring right to food to everyone, but everyone in this country has understood the seriousness of this right, and thus Indian government in 2013, after deliberations and discussions in parliament, passed National Food Security Act 2013 to facilitate ease of securing food for every citizen in India. Salient features of National Food Security Act are: public distribution system is now governed by the provisions of National Food Security Act 2013. Coverage under PDS is delinked from erstwhile poverty estimates. The Act provides coverage of nearly two-thirds of the country's total population. 75% of rural and 25% of urban population is entitled to receive highly subsidized food grains under two categories of beneficiaries: Antyodaya Anna Yojana households and priority households. States or union territory wise coverage is determined by the erstwhile Planning Commission, now Niti Aayog. The Act entitles 35 kg of food grain per AAY household per month and 5 kg of food grain per PPH person every month. Identification of beneficiaries or household under NFSA is done by respective state or union territories government, which is required to frame its own criteria. Highly subsidized central issue prices of Rs 1, Rs 2 and Rs 3 for coarse grains, wheat and rice respectively kept unchanged till June 2019. No reduction in food grain allocation to any state or union territory under NFSA. Allocation gap, if any, are covered with tide over allocation. Eldest woman of the beneficiary household, 18 years of or above, is considered as head of family for purpose of issuing ration cards. Grievance redressal mechanism through state food commissions, DGRO, vigilance committee at different levels are provision for women empowerment. Provisions for disclosure of records relating to PDS operation, placing of beneficiary list in public domain or portals for enhanced transparency. Assistance to state or union territories for meeting expenditure on intra-state transportation and handling of food grain and FPS dealers margin. Programs run by Government of India include Public Distribution System, Applied Nutritional Program, Integrated Child Development Service Schemes, Wheat-Based Nutrition Program, National Nutritional Policy, Midday Meal Schemes, National Maternity Benefit Schemes, Below Poverty Line Benchmark, Above Poverty Line Benchmark, Targeted Public Distribution System, Annapurna Scheme, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, Emergency Feeding Program, Scheme for Supply of Food Grains to SC, ST, OBC, Hostel Welfare Institutions, Nutritional Program for Adolescent Girls, Village Grain Bank Scheme, Kishori Shakti Yojana, National Food Security Mission, and Poshan Abhiyan. The Midday Meal Scheme is a school meal program of the Government of India designed to better the nutritional standing of school-age children nationwide. The program supplies free lunch on working days for children in primary and upper primary classes in government-aided, local body, education guarantee schemes and alternate innovative education centers, madrasas and maktabs supported under Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and National Child Labour Project schools run by Ministry of Labour. The public distribution system in India facilitates the supply of food grain and distribution of essential commodities to a larger number of poor people through a network of fair price shops at a subsidized rate on a recurring basis. The primary policy objective of the Department of Food and Public Distribution is to ensure food security for the country through timely and efficient procurement and distribution of food grains. This involves procurement of various food grains, building up and maintenance of food stock, their storage movement, and delivery to the distributing agencies and monitoring of production, stock, and price levels of food grains. Antyodaya Anna Yojana is a Government of India sponsored scheme to provide highly subsidized food to members of poorest families. The key features of targeted public distribution system as adopted by Government of India are as follows. Targeting. The most distinctive feature of TPDS in relation to the previous policy is the introduction of targeting by dividing the entire population into below poverty line BPL and above poverty line APL categories based on poverty line defined by the Planning Commission. The maximum income level of population to be covered under BPL was kept at 15,000 per annum. The TPDS provided wheat at Rs 2 kg, rice 3 kg and millets at Rs 1 kg to BPL families. Dual prices. The second distinguishing feature is that PDS has now has dual central issue. First, prices for BPL consumers and prices for APL consumer. A third price introduced in 2001 is for beneficiaries of Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Third, central state control. A third important feature of TPDS is that it has changed central state responsibilities with respect to entitlements and allocation to the PDS. PDS was designed and managed by state government and state government differ with respect to entitlements. The commodities offered at retail price, state issue price and so on. In past, state governments demanded a certain allocation from the central pool and based on certain factors. More importantly, past utilization and requirement of statutory rationing. The central government allocated grain and other commodities to state for their public distribution system. Now I would like to tell about the Brazilian example. Earlier, Brazil was unable to tackle hunger problem for 25 years and it became a challenge to survive. Later, when there was a will to tackle the problem, coupled with political will, Brazil could manage to solve the issue. After electing President Silva, he brought key ingredients in fighting hunger. The government worked with the goal to end hunger and elevate food security to higher administration level to ensure everyone will cooperate in this movement. Finally, with commitment, drive and energy, they were able to tackle the problem and set path for rest of the world to follow. Brazil confronted hunger by creating awareness and commitment at the highest political level, generating and broadening widest possible support, taking action through not only agriculture and production but also all sectors of government and forging partnership between government and civil society for rights-based participatory process. Brazil at first started identifying hungry in the country to whom the policy could not reach due to neglect or discrimination based on ethnicity, age, etc. Then laws relating to right to food were assessed to identify the hindrances to right to food and developed a strong roadmap to tackle hunger, malnutrition with targets, time frame and allocation of responsibilities. The government cooperated with institutes, NGOs, private sector players, etc. to achieve the goal of food security. The Brazilian government created a legal framework which laid down broad principles and general obligations which the nation embraces. It included definition of right to food concept, objectives, principle, objectives to respect, protect, fulfill, revoke contrary law, set agenda priorities for further legislation, institutional responsibilities, define violations, access to recourse and remedies, ensure participation, financial provisions, defining food emergencies and entitlements, monitoring and benchmarks. The law included a strong right to food that people can claim right to food as human right. Right to food is not merely a humanitarian concern, it is a legal obligation, an economic necessity and a moral duty. Law alone cannot eliminate hunger. Effective enforcement transparent governance, and public awareness are equally essential. It is imperative that we strengthen social safety nets, enhance agricultural sustainability, and promote equitable distribution systems. As we move forward, let us recognize that the eradication of hunger is not a distant ideal, it is an achievable reality. The law is not just a tool for governance, it is a mechanism for justice. Ensuring the right to food is ensuring the right to life. Thank you.
Sumukh, thank you very much. You have touched a very sensitive topic that we have various laws, we have various decisions of the Supreme Courts of India, but still we are not able to achieve that to the 100% level, because ultimately there needs to be some mechanism by which we should ensure that no person in India is hungry and stays without food. So thank you very much for such nice and a sensitive topic. A small token from Hammurabi to you.
Thank you so much.